baller! Well, hello there. How's it going, everybody? Today I wanted to do a step-by-step tutorial on how to carve an axe sticking out of a chunk of wood. I've seen them on Facebook and I thought, hey, those are really cool. I wonder how you did it. So with some trial and error, I've come up with a way to make them. That's finished. It's one of these bad boys. Doing a show at the Cloverdale Rodeo, which you guys are probably anticipating. And there's a lumberjack competition coming up. That's actually part of the show. So I'm thinking that building a couple of these guys would be a hot seller there. So without further ado, we'll go over the tool list and the materials we'll be using for the job. All right, so the tools that we'll be using for this carving is we'll start with the chainsaws. We've got the MS 170 with a small Roll-O-Matic Mini on there with a quarter pitch chain. And for the bigger cuts, we'll be using the MS 271, or the Farm Boss, as a lot of people call it. And for all the sanding, we're going to be using just a regular grinder. My grinder actually died, so I upgraded to a little bit of a bigger one. This one's, I think it's 9,000 RPM. My previous one was only 6, so it's pretty nice. As for the chunk of wood we're going to be using, it's just a pretty basic. It's a quarter log. I've already cut and quartered it just for the purpose of not having to film that. It's about 2 feet long and about 1 foot wide, and it doesn't have to be too thick because it's only going to be an axe. Alright, let's move on to step 1. The step 1 on any carving is always leveling out the base. We want it to sit right. I don't want it to be wobbly. So that's step 1. Alright, so next we're just going to put it in this here jaw horse. If you don't have a jaw horse, I suggest you get one. But no, cutting it on screwing a piece of plywood to the bottom and then screwing that piece of plywood to a piece of wood is another way of doing it. It's just a more arduous task that I didn't like doing. So we get that locked in place, and then we'll move on to step 2. So for step 2, we're just gonna cut the wood about, give it 2 inches. Left to right, all the way down, and we're going to cut a nice center. We're just going to cut a 2-inch slab out of the middle and cut it off at the base. Just be really careful when you're cutting it at the base. You don't want to go in too far and end up hitting the axe head. Alright, so we've got our slab cut. You just want to have about 2 inches of meat on the whole thing, and then you're looking good if you got that. So unfortunately, I don't actually have a pencil on me, so I'm just going to kind of figure out what the shape of what you're going to be carving next is, and then you can kind of go off the carving, and we'll do a close-up after that. It's just better if I show you, because this doesn't work a whole lot. Alright, so this is the basic pattern that you're going to want to cut out. Now this is for going off of a hewing axe on this one. And it's very important that you leave this back piece on, because this keeps the whole axe stable as you're carving it out and shaping it down. I've had a couple where I didn't have this on here and the handle just breaks right off. So yeah, this is the key piece right here. Okay, so all I've done right now is just thin down the handle, giving it the basic shape of an axe, and tapered the blade point in. And I actually made a boo-boo on this one. This is due to the fact that I took that little chunk out of the back here. The axe is going to be floating on the wood. It's not really going to be in the wood at this point, so it's kind of an oopsie kind of mistake, but it's still going to look kick-ass when it's done. Alright, so next we're just going to round off the handles by just going over it with the chainsaw a little bit on both ends, and level off the base, and then we're going to sand it down, and that's still going to keep this piece on. Okay? Don't cut that off yet. So we're going to work on the tip of the handle here now. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of make sure it stays attached at all costs, because for the sanding portion of this, you really need that on there. So we're going to just make a kind of a V on the back end. I'll give you a close-up in a sec to see show you what I did. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up too well, but there's just a little V here connecting the handle still, and it's just barely attached at this point, which is absolutely fine. So we're gonna go ahead and hit this thing up with the sander, and then once the whole handle's complete, we can finally take this piece off. So this is step 7, I believe. I haven't actually been keeping track, so alright, so for the next part, we're gonna actually cut this piece off now, and then we're gonna cut this piece off. Just make sure all your sanding on the handle is done at this point. If you have some trouble getting up in here, just use sandpaper, or if you're ballsy, just get your grinder, hold on one side. I don't suggest that. Don't do that. It's a bad idea. But yeah, so we're cutting this off next, and voila, you got yourself an axe. And there you have it. You know, you're kind of cartoony at this point, because, you know, I'm not really having practice. It's only my 4th one. Okay, my 6th one that actually made it to the final stage. But yeah, it's your finished product. And just be very leery. Don't pick it up like that, because it might break and all that. But yeah, there you go. All right, yeah. Look at these bad boys. Woo. No, but seriously, any questions on how I did this, or any parts that I may have missed that you need a little bit more detail on? Drop it in the comments and I will get back to you. Promise. Okay? Have a gooder. Keep on gardening.